Live.
Ellis.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got the robot voice.
Already, huh?
Yes. I don't know how to flip my video around. That didn't do it. Huh. Maybe I can do this, I guess. That'll work. Are you there? Did I get Ellis? Uh-oh. I don't know if
How's that sound?
That's much better. You sound like you're in the room with me.
Well, if it stays like this, we'll be happy, I guess. Tell me the moment it does go robot that you notice it.
Hang on. I'm going to leave and flip my camera around. I can't seem to flip it around. Okay, I'll be back. Give me a second.
Well, you're right side up to my eyeballs.
No, but I mean, I'm looking at the face. Oh, okay. This will work. I'll just put it in the brace upside down. That'll work.
Okay.
I can't see the screen, which I don't really need to. But anyway, okay. So are we live?
Yeah, we're live. We have been. I don't know why I went live, but I did, and I guess there's no going back.
Okay. So we came home from work, or I came home from work. Michelle is still working from home.
Yeah.
And I came in, and I noticed the lights upstairs were kind of dim, and I thought, well, that's kind of odd. And I thought one of the bulbs is out, so I thought it was that. And then I came downstairs, and Michelle was telling me the microwave's not working. So I thought, well, the light, and then the TV went off. And so I thought, well, that's odd. So, for anyone that doesn't know, my wife is an electrical engineer. So basically part of my house and you can see my studio has power.
Yeah.
But downstairs, we don't have power except in certain outlets. The TV isn't working. Nothing in the kitchen. And so Michelle called it into OG&E, and Michelle, right before I was getting ready to get set up for the recording, Michelle hauled at me and said, "OG&E's here," and so I went out to talk to him. So that's why I'm not. I guess I'm not really late, but I was. That's why I wasn't ready.
Well, is it just like a fuse, or what is it?
Well, it's something because the neighbor came out and it was doing it at his house.
Oh, okay.
So it's it wasn't just us, and you're breaking up again.
Well, I will try to do it.
I think Ellis. Oh, he's back for a second.
Yeah, I'm back, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, you're good. You're good now. What do we have?
Well,
any
it's
idea
not
what
going.
causes?
It's not going to last. It's apparently this headphone mic combo is not working. It's something, I guess, runs some sort of conflict through the. Maybe if I unplug the speakers, maybe it'll last longer. How's that sound? Still sound all right?
Sounds good. Still
Okay.
sounds good.
We'll see if that maybe lasts longer.
Is it a separate microphone and headphone?
Yeah, but it's a USB, whereas where the sound is ordinarily through a standard little thing,
3.5 or whatever it is, millimeter jack.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So what you been up to?
Oh, I saw an old movie I've been meaning to rewatch again for a long time, which is Laurence Olivier's Hamlet. I just happened to run across a couple of guys that were really hugely into Hamlet, going on and on about it. And I said, well, I've got to cue that up and get around to seeing that again. So I've been watching that the past couple of nights, and that was very cool. So now I'm turning into a guy that says, I need to know more about Hamlet. So I've got...
So are you going to start reading all of Shakespeare's works?
Well, I probably should. I mean, it wouldn't hurt me. I think the deal is that, you that language, catching what you can catch of
Yeah.
Hamlet and fully understanding it is it's just worthwhile in terms of like just the exercise, you know.
Sure. No. I'm with you. There is a. It's. I mean, it's funny you say that because I watched a video when Michelle and I were both working at home. We would watch YouTube videos at lunchtime, and I would watch. One of the things we were watching was one that was on Disney stuff, and one of them was the history of Euro Disney. Okay,
Uh
and
huh.
Euro Disney has a lot of Jules Verne design, and that made me want to read some Jules Verne. And I read all that when I was a kid because the library I grew up in didn't have any science fiction except for Jules Verne, H.G. Wells. It had some Ray Bradbury and some Heinlein and some Asimov, and it had some Harlan Ellison too, believe it or not. But that it didn't have anything newer than the '60s, and this would have been in the '80s, early '80s. But uh, the thing is, I'm gonna read some Jules Verne, and I know going into it, it's gonna be that same kind of thing.
Yeah, it's going to be a kind of antiquated kind of language, and have kind of conventions and speech patterns and stuff like that. That you know, and you can
But
see it even in news. Like I was fascinated with the fact that I could on microfiche
oh yeah,
dig into the old reports of the Jack the Ripper story live as it was happening, as it was coming out in the
yeah.
newspapers. But you know, you have to challenge yourself a little bit. Say, I need to hang with how these guys write because it's not
Yeah.
like what I'm used to.
Well, and I think that's a valuable skill because what you're doing, really, all you're doing, I believe, is increasing your reading comprehension,
Yeah.
and it's a valuable. It's that the reading comprehension is a valuable skill, and you know, where I run into it, where I think I'm tested a lot in some of these anatomy books, you know, where they go deep into like here's this muscle here, and I mean like straight up anatomy books, not you know.
Well, yeah, and there's no more fun than having that light bulb just start getting brighter and brighter in your head as you get good at something. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's a I think that reading comprehension. And when I was a kid, I think I had more patience for some of this stuff. You know.
Well, like right now, I'm working on Blender. I don't know if you can see this. I'll switch.
I have to
Switch.
look up.
Or you would? Oh,
You know what? Hang on. I'm gonna turn my TV on and mute it,
okay.
and then get on your channel.
Oh, okay.
That seems to be the best way for me to see this stuff.
There you go. Just a
There's
slight delay.
yeah. Bond, James Bond.
Hmm.
Have you been listening? Did you listen to Casino Royale?
No, I haven't. But I saw that you did a podcast on Bond, so I figured you want to talk about it tonight.
Oh yeah. Well, and I don't know if we have any listeners because I can't see the thing, but uh, I am current. Well, I have been challenged by another member of our podcast, not this podcast, but another podcast that Ellis is on occasionally. Our friend Barry, he's doing what he's calling the full Fleming, where he's reading all 14 Anne Fleming books, and I'm a huge James Bond fan. And I really though I like the old stuff because I like the archaic. I like the even though it wasn't
Like
at the
the
time.
time period. Yeah.
I like the time period. Yeah, I was trying to think yeah, I like that. I like the old stuff, and so I've been. Well, I showed you I've been reading. I have a set of the hardcovers I've been reading. I've actually made kind of retro looking book covers for them. I think I showed that on the last deal. But I've been reading. I'm on Moonraker, which is vastly different than the movie. The movie was very Star Wars.
Well, Moonraker is more like a throwback to being like a Doctor No, isn't it? Kind of.
Yeah, kind of. The book, yeah.
As far as structure, you know, get in, invade,
Yeah.
and mess everything up.
Yeah. Well, that
Well, I
was.
guess they're all like
I
that.
was gonna
Get in,
say.
invade, mess everything up. Can you see my microphone I've
Yeah.
been doing? There you go.
Yeah. I see it.
Okay.
I see. I'm getting a little bit of static, Ellis, but your voice isn't getting robotic. So I don't know if you have a short somewhere or.
Probably.
But yeah, I like your microphone. Now, why are you modeling a microphone?
It's just a tutorial. You just
Oh, okay.
go along with it. And so, it's something I don't have to know how to do it. I'm just doing it. But I'm picking up a lot. I'm not far away from being able to just tear into my own stuff.
That's
Way
cool. What's the end goal for Blender?
Probably to do what I used to think about for SketchUp, which I could still do for SketchUp, which is to have a little reference for those things you hate to do, which involve perspective. To have a whole lot of like layouts of buildings and stuff like that. Have those sitting around as a ready reference. But with Blender, I have even more of an ambition. I want to be able to use what they call grease pencil and actually do some models, shift them around, basically render them with this hand sketch over the top of the models.
Oh yeah.
And that become my artwork. It
Well,
may
that's
not
cool.
sound. Yeah, it's
It doesn't sound fun to do though.
well, I would have fun doing it because of. See if this works. Yeah, it works good. I don't know. I guess I'm going down that road of painting into photo reference and stuff like that. Because why not use the tool?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Photoshop is there. You're using the computer. Use it for everything it does.
Yeah. It's funny. I use computer a lot for comics for a long time, and I just once I started doing, I don't know, I don't miss it. Let me put it that way. And people always say, "Oh, it'd be so much faster," and I question that.
Oh no, you got to do a lot of setup and stuff. There is a lot that will slow down about, like this strategy I've got going for this. It's like you're going to be a long time before you have your little environment for everything. But not if I do things like right off the bat. I have in mind like a road runner kind of a desert background, which
Oh
would
yeah,
be real easy to do. Of course, it
Mobius.
also, yeah, it'd also be a real easy just to sketch off the top of your head. But it'll give me a lot of ideas to have it in 3D and shift it around and pose it, do stuff like that.
I didn't know if you had something in mind to do with a specific project.
Yeah, it's going to be called DL and Odious. You read the short stories, yeah.
Oh, okay. So you are working towards that in.
Yeah, and exactly. If I could, like if I could do his motorcycle, and that becomes something I can very easily, charmingly render without having to, and have it look really cool. That's the point. It becomes challenging to, have your reference just right where you want it.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you say that, but when I first started doing this is issue 4 of Heaven's Rejects, and it has a big car chase. I mean, it's a race, it's a cross country race, and the first thing I did was I went through the script and I made a list of all the cars that I needed, and then what I did is I went online and looked for models of them, SketchUp models. And of course, immediately, my version of SketchUp is not the right version. I have an old version, and it won't load any of the models. And so it's like, well, the new version, you don't download it. It's a browser and all this crap. And I was just like, okay,
I'm out on that.
I'm out. And I said, you know what? You know what I'm going to use? I'll show you what I used. Hot Wheels.
Hot Wheels, yeah.
I used Hot I use Hot Wheels and I don't know where my page, my other page is the scanner, and literally I drew a grid in the computer, and I put them on the grid and I take pictures of them, and that's what I'm using for reference. And you know, because it's like, this is faster. Because it's so frustrating with those models because you get them in and they don't look right, and then you try and move them and they don't move right, and
Your depth of field is going to be wider one. Yep.
yeah, it's just like, you know what? Screw that. I'm just going to do it. And I here's the thing. I'll tell you what I told somebody the other day, and I think I told you this on the phone. So this is the story I called you on the phone about.
Okay.
But I told somebody the other day, I have a day job. I have a pretty good day job. I can draw the comics I want to draw. I don't have to worry about, are they going to sell? Am I doing them fast enough? Am I doing them? Will anybody like? I mean, I want people to like them, obviously, but I work a day job so that I have some freedom, so that I don't have to do crap I don't want to do for money.
Right.
It's like I'm drawing these comics because I like them. I want to draw the comics that I want to draw, and that extends into my working methods. Somebody might go, "Oh,
you want to draw you want to draw. I get that.
Yeah, I don't want to sit in there on the computer. I sit in front of a computer all day. I want to be in here in my office at my desk drawing. I want to sit in here and pretend like I'm, John Byrne or George Perez or whoever, and do it like they would do it. And I've been reading The Locust Bride.
Oh, you have been.
Yep. I'm not done with it. There was something funny I was going to tell you that I'd read that I thought was funny today, and I forget what it was, because I was gonna make a comment about it. I forget what it was, but yeah, I've been taking to work and reading it at lunchtime.
Cool. Well, reading the script is not the same as reading a book, but I'm not as good at it as I need to develop. Even though I really enjoy reading Bone Tomahawk, which is just straight up. What's on the page got done in the movie. You can see every now and then he'll get real descriptive about some of the stuff, the wild tribal Indians have raid around somewhere. And then it's obvious they couldn't do it on the screen, and they just can't do that. So they just do it.
Yeah.
Anytime something costs money, you find yourself set. It's like, well, there's something we can't do. No biggie.
Hey, Ellis, are you a fan of Peter Bogdanovich?
No, this is fascinating. Asking me about Bogdanovich just yesterday.
There's a podcast.
What's coming in the news? Yeah.
There's a podcast about him that TCM just put out, TCM Turner Classic Movies.
Okay, that's why he's in the news. Okay.
Yeah. I listened to 6 of the 7 episodes today at work, and it's pretty interesting. You may enjoy it.
Well, he's a guy that's how he kind of got himself introduced around. He's a smart little articulate guy that got into John Ford early on. He wanted to know all about John Ford, so he made a film himself talking to John Ford.
Yep. Well, and he did it. He did I'm trying to remember if it was John Ford, the first one he did. He did the Museum of Modern Art in New York City hired him to write like an introduction to a retrospective on. I don't think the first one was Ford, but it may have been. And so he wrote this, and then he said, I think it was Hitchcock. There was another director.
Yeah. He talked to a couple of them.
Yeah, he talked to a couple of them, and so he set up this thing, and the museum paid him, to do this. and then I forget how he made the jump to film, but Corman. He did something for Corman.
Targets.
Targets, yeah.
The last Boris Karloff movie.
Yep, that's it exactly. Because it talked about directing Karloff. Because Corman had Karloff
Under
for
contract.
under contract, and he had him for like 2 days, and he's like, you can use him for or something like that. You can
Somebody
use
better use him. Get busy.
exactly. I've got to get my money out of this guy.
It's like Ed Wood and Bela Lugosi.
Yeah,
Get out there.
exactly. Except I think he paid Bela Lugosi in booze.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But no, I probably really like that podcast. Have you ever seen The Last Picture Show?
No, I was thinking I need to. Is it?
That's the deal. He's one of those guys that peaked with his first really major stab at making after Targets. He peaked with Last Picture Show. That's his best film. I don't think he'd probably even argue about it. And of course, if you look at his credits on Internet Movie Database, the guy's done more acting than he's done directing. He actually shows up on The Sopranos. You know.
Oh yeah. Well, that was what he originally was going to go into, was acting. He basically faked his way into some acting school, Stella Adler's acting school, which I think was a what do they call it, with a Marlon Brando method. I think it was a method actor, but I don't.
Yeah.
Anyway, but they said
that'd be a tough one to feel like you didn't really belong to in.
Yeah.
Have a bunch of actors around that were just head above better than you are.
Oh, he was 16 and you were supposed to be 18, and he lied about his age to get in.
Oh.
That was the thing. By the way, you were bad. I didn't say anything, and you've gotten perfect now on your sound. So apparently it cycles. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. But well, that's what several people said about him, was he was just a guy that didn't really, he never conceived of himself as failing at stuff.
That's exactly how Spielberg was. All these guys that are gung ho, they don't see being embarrassed by not being good at something, or they don't worry. They know that they're going to fall on their face a few times, and they just get out there. They do it.
Yeah, he was doing something, and he was friends with Orson Welles. Orson Welles was another person. That may have been who the retrospective was.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah,
but he was friends with Orson Welles. And he was working on something. It wasn't Target. It was one of his later movies. And he got to looking at it, and he was like, this would work great if it were black and white. There was some other movie he was emulating. He said, this needs to be black and white. And Orson Welles told him it needs to be black and white. And he goes, well, the studio will never go for that. And he goes, have you asked them? He's like, no. And so he asked them, and they're like, oh, sure, no problem. You know?
Well, that no doubt is the Last Picture Show.
Yeah. Maybe it is the Last Picture Show. Oh, it is black and white, isn't it?
Yeah, it's beautiful black and white.
Never seen it, but they talked about it. I'll have to get it. The library has it.
What's funny is they've got, I remember it's like Ben Johnson got his Academy Award. It's like Hollywood saying, we know who you are, Ben. But now, it's just like the whole world was like rediscovering him all over again. He's been in Shane, The Dirty Dozen. He's been The Getaway. He's been in everything. He was in Dillinger's, the guy that comes after Dillinger. He made a lot of great movies. Or, he was just a solid guy.
Yeah.
For years and years, and especially in those John Ford movies. He was one of the company that Ford made. Actors he trusted and liked,
I saw a great YouTube video last night, and I didn't get to watch all of it because I kind of caught it late. Now that I'm in the office, I have to watch what time I go to bed. But it's, do you know who David Finch is? He's a
Oh
DC
yeah,
artist.
good Lord, how do you know we've got some synchronicity going on? Because I was watching, I was watching some of that the other day myself.
Oh, really? Did you see his video on gesture drawing?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
I was watching him render his arms, how he was showing you how he takes
I watched that yesterday
how
or
he
the day before.
shades.
I watched that
Yeah.
the day before. He just put out a good one on gesture drawings, and what's
Well, I want
great
to see
is
that.
it's everything that I've been trying to accomplish, like coming together. I mean,
Uh-huh.
because he talks about how, kind of oh, I don't know what you call, almost like a mannequin anatomy or whatever, and then this
Sure.
idea of
Yeah.
putting and it's the kind of thing I've been working on in my sketchbook. But it's like, oh, this is, it was cool to see him do that kind of thing.
Yeah. Hey,
That's funny.
I'm gonna be out of touch here as I slip a T-shirt on here.
Okay. I don't know if there's anybody watching or not. I can't see the comments. But anyway, if you're watching, I hope everything is going well with you. I'm sure there's a couple people watching. There usually is.
Hey,
Yeah.
did my voice survive?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
You're good. I mean, it's weird. There's no static at all now.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'll take whatever it is. I'll take it. Did you see this crowd scene I had to ink? Look at this thing.
Let's see it. Here, I'll solo you.
I don't know if I got
Wow,
any
look
bigger.
at that thing. Yeah.
And then I drew Boston, the city of Boston. I don't know if you can see it, but this is Boston, and there's a boat, and there's a guy on the boat that's thrown up holding a beer, and it's one of the other writers for this company. So it's something that the writer put in as a gag because he's from Boston. So
Wow. That sounds like one of those things. It's like, how much is that going to contribute to the story? I don't know. It would kind of annoy me if it doesn't contribute anything to the story.
oh, it would nah.
Yeah, it
It's
doesn't bother
cool.
you.
Nah, I'm cool with it. So I've scanned. I have. When did you get? At one point, you kind of got onto me because I didn't have issue 3 scanned. I think.
Well, yeah, I was just telling you that I kind of liked scanning the process, and that I thought, it seemed like you should want to have it in the pipeline.
It
And you
is done.
reacted,
It's in the
and you've
pipeline.
done it. Yeah.
You successfully shamed me, which is very hard to do.
Well, I
Um,
just made it.
no, you're right. You're right. You pointed out the lunacy of sitting. And here was the thing, and I think this what made you say that. I talked to the writer, and I told you this. I talked to the writer, and he was like, "Yeah, when you get issue 4 done, I'll get the colorist on it." And I just
Yeah.
dreaded erasing so much. And it went so fast, Ellis. I mean, it took a couple days to do all 20 whatever pages, but it was, when in the end I actually enjoyed the process because I went through and I laid out the word balloons. I had the lettering. I had the words laid out because it's like this. Let's see if I got. I put the words out so I know how much room I need when I'm penciling it, but it's not done. I don't have the balloons done,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't have. I went in and broke it up. And I really, once I got into it, I really enjoyed figuring out a cadence for the wording, and getting the balloons all, where it looked like he was talking at a, kind of try and give it a speech pattern.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
it was,
that's huge.
well, the lifesaver for me is 11x17 scanner.
Yeah.
That's that is because I used to do it like in halves in Photoshop, and I'd put them together, and it was a nightmare. I would draw stuff smaller just so I didn't have to do that, because it was.
It's a good habit to draw large too, because if you're like me, The only time you ever feel like you do a good drawing, it's probably a fairly small drawing.
Oh
And
yeah.
so if you aren't good at drawing large, it'll bite you. You need to get that big image going.
Yeah. And it's a definite skill drawing changing sizes. I saw Alberto Ramos one time, and he does a lot of conventions, or at least he did do a lot of conventions, and he was doing a regular book, and he would do pages while he was on the road, and he had smaller pages made up that he could fit in a backpack easily. I think they were 11 by 14, he told me. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just because it's like it was easier to travel, and he'd work on them in the hotel, which seems absurd to me, but you know. But he's making big bucks at cons because he's one of those artists that can get big bucks for commissions, and he didn't want to give that up, but he didn't want to give the book up either. And he couldn't do a con every other weekend or whatever he told me he was doing.
Boy, that went away. Hopefully, it all comes back. Right now, I think everybody's aware that all this stuff has been 99% nonsense. All this lockdown kind of stuff.
Oh yeah,
everybody that's going to get that is going to get it. It amounts to something that's just in the mix now. If you get it, you get it. You're probably not going to die from it. It's like everything you've ever gotten that made you sick. It's like you'd rather not be sick, and you'll get over it.
Hopefully, I mean there will be people that die, and I mean, and just to clarify, Ellis is not saying it's a hoax. That's not what you're saying. What you're saying is it's out in the system, and it probably will not get eradicated. And but it's under control, hopefully. So that I think the big thing was they were worried there'd just be this mass, and so many people be hospitalized, and I don't think that ever materialized. Thank goodness.
That's one of the main things they were worried about. They just didn't want to see their own infrastructure stressed. As much.
Well,
as
I think it was. I think they were afraid it would collapse, not necessarily just stress, but yeah. I think you're right about that. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, things are going pretty good for us. If we could get, when we were out dealing with the power people, my neighbor came out because he was like, "Are you out of power too?" And I go, "Yeah." And I was talking to him, and I go, "Are you been working at home?" And he goes, "Yes." He said that his company, he will be home at least until November, and he said, "I'm about to go stir crazy."
That's insane. That's completely insane. There's no reason. Well, I mean, doesn't that month automatically make you think of something? I'd like to know what company he works for, if he works for the state or whatever.
Yeah, it is an odd.
Because November is exactly plotted to say this is going to go bad until after the election. Then things will get good again if we get our way.
Or I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say they were setting up for a rebound, which is probably what they're telling people, just in case.
Well, they don't want a rebound right now. They have to. A rebound
of the virus. A rebound of the virus. I mean, a second wave of the virus. That's what a lot of people are saying. But yeah, no, you're right. That there are people. I'm not being conspiratorial, that want a bad. They want life to be bad in America. That's what you're saying, right? Because they want to influence people not to vote for. They want to be able to say, "Look, Trump has failed."
Yeah. I watched the Rosenstein stuff this morning.
What happened today? I heard about it. But
it's like it didn't even exist in terms of getting any sort of play in any place other than Fox. That's the way that'll go. They've got a guy that when you grill him, you discover it was all just nonsense, that there is such a thing as what amounts to Obamagate. But
it won't go anywhere. Yep,
Yeah,
not
it's
gonna
not
go
going
anywhere.
anywhere. So that Finch stuff, I'm going to check that out. No, it was good to watch a guy that is very handy with, just watching him. You learn like, okay, oh, the big takeaway I got was like, go ahead and draw everything really nice and then erase it.
Yeah,
That's what he does. That is something I have to be mindful of, because that's what I really hate about drawing anyway, is knowing that I've got to go in and nudge it around here, erase it, nudge it around, erase it. But I think what he was doing there was a little more of just sticking with it until he had it, and then erasing it, and then the render on his pencils
yeah,
is just because he knows what he's already put down and can see it. He can see that little ghost, and that's all he needs.
right.
And that's my big lesson that I took
From
in a
watching the video,
big way from. Yeah.
that's cool. That's cool. Sorry, I'm looking for a circle template.
Yeah, it's hard to talk and draw at the same time, isn't it?
Nah. I mean, it's not that bad.
That's what was hard about those drawn in quarters.
Oh yeah, now that might
Trying
be
to
a
be
little bit different.
trying to be allegedly entertaining
Yeah.
while you were drawing.
Are you not doing those anymore?
Well, I haven't been invited in a long time. I might be able to
Invite yourself. Tell them you want to be on.
invite myself. I don't know, but I'm wondering if they're kind of winding down. I don't know.
It sounds like everybody in that circle all hates each other now. I
Well,
can't
no,
keep
I
track.
know nobody that was doing drawn and quartered, except there was a one guy named Malin that was he was a huge presence in it, and so he became kind of a guy that kind of was one of those guys that was really sniping on Mike, and
Oh really?
he kind of like showed off his power versus Mike's. He has what he calls the Malin militia,
Oh
and
no.
and they kind of did a one of those things where you can snipe on your like if we had a whole bunch of people visit us and here in the oh look at this, we do have some. Well, Star Storyteller tells me my mic is acting up. Is it my acting up
Right now, it sounds great to me. That may be
good
an old
now? Okay.
message. Yeah, you sound perfect right now. Hopefully, it's an old message.
Okay, and Kevin Strange, about the same time of day, said, I'm all robotic and echoey.
You're good now, I think, Ellis. If
Okay.
not, say something again.
Hello.
Not
How's that
not
sound?
you, not you. The listeners, watchers, the
Okay. Well,
viewers.
they probably stand about 2 minutes worth of that and say,
It's just
I'm gone.
screw this,
Yeah.
Ellis. I'm not listening to Ellis the robot. No, I think most people have more patience than you do, Ellis.
Uh, yeah.
But
What's,
yeah,
the, you aren't on Twitter much, are you?
no, not at all. In fact, I have gone in and made my Twitter page private so that no one can come and watch my Twitter. Except I would close it, except for there's a few people that comment on Twitter when I post something. But I've basically been off social media. I mean, I haven't posted anything on Instagram in a few days. Uh, Facebook, but the only thing I post on Facebook every night I read the Bible out loud on Facebook, and that's all. It's on my Facebook page for like a week.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, well, I'm reading through the Book of John. I did a book before that. I was doing it during the pandemic, and several people. There's somebody in particular that's watching it that I think needs to hear the Bible, and so and I know they're watching it because anyway. But I've been doing that. But that's all. That's the only thing on Facebook. Just because I don't care.
Yeah.
I've
No,
got
that's a
my
good
own.
way to be.
Nah, I don't need. I don't need their. Whatever. I don't need likes. I don't care. You don't like me, buy my comic. if you like me enough that you won't buy my comic, then does it matter? I don't know. That sounds crass and commercial. I don't mean it that way, but I mean, I think a lot of people get like a satisfaction out of being on social media.
Well, yeah, no, it's actually
Oh
like
yeah, it
Scott
hits.
it's a dopamine.
Yeah, it hits
You,
your dopamine brain, and
yeah.
I'm not about that. I mean, I've weaned myself off that. I would when I was home from the pandemic, I was really on it a lot. But now that I'm not, now that I'm in the office working, I'm like, I'm good. I mean, we had church Sunday. Now it was very limited, not limited in number, but there wasn't a lot of people there because a lot of people opted not to come in, and we had to. People were seated and stuff. I have to bring water to work with me because the water fountains aren't open.
Huh.
And then coffee. Every day I have to lug a gallon of water and a thermos of coffee to work with me, in addition to all the other crap I normally bring with me. And I'm kind of tired. I mean, I'll do it because I want people to be safe at my work. I want me to be safe, but I'm kind of tired of it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that would get really old to me.
Yeah, it's just kind of one of those things. I mean, it's it's just a lot of stuff, and I take a cup of water, like one of those metal cups that I just leave in the car, and then I'll drink some water from it on the way to work and on the way home. So between those three water containers and my backpack, I'm loaded down like a pack mule going to work. I'm kind of tired of that. I'm ready for things to be normal. I mean, since this started, I think since early March, the only thing I've had that hadn't been made in my own kitchen has been Michelle and I stopped. We went downtown the day before Memorial Day, the Friday before Memorial Day. I was off work, and I said, I'm going to go downtown and walk around. Do you want to go with me? And Michelle was like, yes. And we walked around, we went down the tunnel. We walked around. There was nothing open. Tunnel was open.
That's when you'd have your most recent
yeah.
year.
Oh, we didn't see a soul though, dude. I mean, there's, and then we went to, or maybe it was Saturday after that. We went at one day we drove downtown on Saturday, and we went by. There's a bakery. Remember that bakery we started got donuts in Brown's Bakery by the.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
They do sausage
hospital.
rolls. Yeah, by the hospital. I was going to say trolley car, but they do sausage rolls that Michelle just loves. And so we stopped and we got like a dozen sausage rolls. And we took them home, though, and ate them. Okay, so we did that. That was one day. And then last Saturday, on the way home from my cousins, we get groceries from my cousin doesn't drive. And so my wife and I go get groceries for her. We the goal is to take her, but we don't get to because she has COPD, so we don't want her out. But we go get groceries for her. And on the way home, Michelle said, let's stop at Sonic and get a lemonade slushy. And so I was like, man, I don't know if you like Sonic or their lemonade slushies, but they're freaking awesome. Michelle, I never had one until Michelle said, you should try one. I tried one. It's awesome.
Lemonade slushy.
Yeah, it's like tart and sweet and slushy.
I make lemonade on a regular basis with my little juicer.
Oh, do you?
Someday I may invest in a really, cool food processor that would take on the idea of just like sticking all kinds of stuff in it, instantly having the juice and all that from it. That'd be great.
We have a Ninja which works really good. You can throw ice cubes in it, and you can throw all kinds of because normally blenders have kind of struggle with ice cubes, that Ninja just. I'll get cold coffee and put cold coffee and milk and ice in there and make me a frappuccino, and you know, you can do all kinds of stuff with the Ninja. I don't know what they retail. I got it. My work does a thing where you get points for, like, if somebody helps me, I can give them points,
Uh-huh.
and so you get points, and then you can redeem them for merchandise in the catalog, and that's where I got the Ninja. It was in there. And it sounded kind of interesting, and Michelle said, "Yeah, you should get it." I had a lot of points. Now they
You know
do
what
Amazon cards, so that's what I always get. Just get an Amazon card. I'm sorry, what were you gonna say, Ellis?
You know what I slow cooked yesterday?
What?
An already cooked rotisserie chicken, and
Oh,
I put it
really?
in. I put it in the slow cooker with a jar of chicken gravy,
Oh, yeah.
which kept it all moist and everything.
Yeah.
And man, that came out a lot better than that rotisserie chicken. It was very tasty.
Was it a Walmart rotisserie chicken?
It was a crest.
Oh, okay. When Michelle was off work, Michelle was unemployed at one point for, I don't know, it was a couple. It wasn't very long. It was a couple of weeks. Of course, it seemed like forever. And so what she would do is, when I was at work, she would go to Walmart and she'd get a rotisserie chicken, get a whole chicken, and she'd strip all the meat off of it, and we'd have mashed potatoes and chicken and gravy one night, and then the whole chicken was enough to last us a couple nights. And I think we might have chicken like twice a night, but then like one night she'd get enchilada stuff. We make chicken enchiladas with it.
Sure, yeah.
It was the rotisserie chicken was pretty.
Ends up for being about $5 or $6, you know.
Yeah, and we made we get at least 3 meals out of it, for 2 people. It wasn't too bad. Hang on just a second.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
It's all right.
I need to cough on the mic. How loud that was on your end. Anyway, but yeah, I'm. This is page 6. I have page 7 in the pencils in the scanner, so I'm gonna ink page 7 next. There's like 21 pages, I think, of this comic, and then I'm done, dude. Got nothing to do. Yeah. What I would love is to be done about the time they're ready for the color. I mean, but I'm gonna do this different. I'm gonna do 8 pages, and I'm gonna scan them all and send them to them, so that I'm ahead of them. Just, you know what I'm saying? So they have more work to do in case they can't jump. I don't know how long I don't know if the colorist has started yet, or probably not. And then I think I told you he's got some guy, I think it's a guy, maybe a girl, somebody in mind to do the cover. He asked me if I would mind if somebody else did the covers, and I'm like, no, I don't mind. Because he said he found somebody that does he said it was kind of vectored looking, but I don't know.
Kind of, will it be simple looking, like vector, you say?
I have no idea. I said, if you think it'll sell, I'm good with it.
Yeah, that's all you care about.
That's well, I mean, in reality, in that aspect, yes. Because I'm doing my part. I mean, and he's willing to pay the guy out of his own pocket. And so
that's typically the kind of like a division of labor that occurs in comics.
Yeah,
one guy does covers and one guy does the interiors. Yeah.
Yeah, that's certainly not uncommon.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that I liked about it, the thing that sold me on it, I think, was it won't look like it's not some guy trying to do the same thing I'm doing.
Right.
He said they're like real modern looking and different looking and all this kind of. So, well, I was like, if you think it'll sell, I'm good with it. Like, yeah, this person's done other stuff. He talked to him. He said that they would do it and it'd be reasonable and he'd be willing to pay for it.
You need to look him up. I'm sure he's got something online that would tell you everything about him.
Yeah, maybe if I cared. I mean, I care, but not really. I mean, no. Here's the thing. You get done with this stuff, and you're just like, I want to be done. And it's like, oh no, you got to
Yeah,
draw 4 covers, which actually doesn't sound like that much. But I'm certainly willing. At this point, anything to help me get it across the line, I'm all for.
yeah,
Because it's just like, okay, I'm ready for this to be wrapped up. Even though I have no idea what I'm doing next, I think we're going to do something else, but I don't know. And I told you that people have talked to me about working on stuff with them. Um, I want to take a little bit of a break. I don't know what that consists of, but I imagine I'll be. The problem is I'll take a break and then I won't be able to get work. But if that's the case, I'll do my own thing. You know,
exactly.
I'm hoping
That could
that
be good news. Yeah,
and I'm hoping that this I really want to kind of try and help sell it too, so I'm thinking about that in terms of like, am I going to go with on the road with these guys and go to some, I mean, I've told the writer, man, I'll go to some cons. I'm angling to go to San Diego next year. That'd be phenomenal, to take, because I went to San Diego every year for a long time. And then I got to the point where I was like, I'm not going because it's so expensive. I was like, I'm not going to go until I'm working with a publisher, And so now that would be the time. I was thinking about going this year, but that, wah, wah,
yeah.
but so be it. The,
Well, that's going to become the big fight in the coming just very shortly. Just the moment all the rioting crap is all done, they're going to start fighting over whether or not we're open officially because
yeah,
the appearance is that there's no reason if you're going to stick 30,000 rioters on the street together,
yep.
have impact elbow to elbow. What exactly
Well,
are you talking about? There's no reason to shut New York down just because you want to get Joe Biden elected. You've got to
well, yeah. I
get
mean,
out of that mindset.
I don't doubt that there are some people, because I know a lot of people that are very anti-open. Well, first off, let me say this: different cities different states need to open at different times because it's a different virus. Here in Oklahoma, your odds are you're not going to get it. Now, if you're around
Right.
somebody that has it, you might get it. I mean, it's I'm not saying it's fake, but it's like, I think your last time I looked, I think it was like 1,000 people out of 1,000,000, 1,000 people per million have it, or something like that. So you're one out of 1,000, or something like it. No, it's less than that. I
Oh
think it's
yeah, it's
100,
way less than
100,
that.
100 out of 1,000,000. And you're just like, what are your odds of getting it? Just based
Hmm.
on statistics.
Yeah.
And so there's no reason for Oklahoma to be under the same guidelines as some of these other states. And then you say, well, they will forcefully remove people from the enforcement is all over the map.
Yeah.
This idea that, well, you can't have a church, or you can't have, like, my business, my department, none of us are within 10 feet of each other, you know, and we probably could have operated this whole time and not had any problems. But they shut us down. Well, they don't shut down Walmarts. They don't shut down, but yet they'll, the enforcement is very selective.
Yeah.
And, and then, like you say, you know, they tell the rioters, they tell the protesters, hey, wear a mask. Well, I saw a few people wearing masks on the news, but yeah, most of them weren't. And I mean, I get it. Heck, one guy was hugging the reporter and all this kind, just trying to be smart alecky about it. You know, but I mean, we'll see. That was all this weekend. I mean, there may be 30,000 people with COVID IV or COVID-19 after this. You know, so But I don't know. I mean, the whole idea was to not overwhelm the system. So I guess we've done that. But like New York Comic Con, I haven't heard anything about. But I think at this point they should be sending out, stuff for tickets for New York Comic Con. And I haven't heard a peep, and so I'm assuming that New York Comic Con is canceled. And even if it wasn't, I'm not sure I'd go because it was definitely a thing in New York. And cons are a germy stew anyway.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, and my book isn't coming out, so it's like, well, do I need to go this year? I mean, I don't need to. Do I need to risk it?
Yep. It would be.
I'll go next year.
Yep.
Next year's the year. I mean, if anything good came out of all this, it's like this was not the year. Of course, who knows what'll be going on next year, but this was not the year that I was planning on doing a bunch of stuff for the comic, because the comic is not done. But it will be by next year for sure. And so next year's the year I don't want them to cancel Comic-Con or New York Comic-Con or all the other, all these other conventions. Dude, I'm trucking right along.
Excellent.
Yeah. My next
Let's see.
couple. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say my next couple pages, or the rest of the book, I'm going to do it in a lot looser style. Do you remember those John Byrne Xeroxes I gave you a copy of? You went through and like darkened some of them.
Yeah, but didn't I give them back to you?
Yeah, no. I gave you digital copies. Yeah, you gave me.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the style I'm going for. That's his breakdown style. That's kind of what I'm doing. It's or what I'm going to do on the rest of them. I wanted to do the first 6 or 7 pages real tight, so I'd have some tight pencils to show people when I'm looking for my next job. But I'm going to do the rest of this book pretty loose, I think, for sure. I wonder if my power's fixed. I can't tell. I got power in my office. Anyway, well, hey, dude, it's been about an hour. I think I need to split. I need to see what else is going on.
I've been about as entertaining as I've been low energy. Let's say that. Let's just leave it at that.
Well, no, you're good. Well, Ellis, I always look forward to talking to you.
Yeah,
that's the only reason I did. Well, that and the people that tune in. I appreciate everyone that tunes in. But
Star Storyteller came back through.
Oh,
so that's cool. Thanks for coming by. And like you say, I guess we'll end it right about now. We went about an hour. We'll have a theme and maybe pre-plan a little something. What'd you do on your podcast last time? I need to listen to it. Okay. I guess you died. Okay. We'll see you.